Welcome to RVing in New England, the nation's only forum that puts you on stage with some of the biggest names in the RV.
Well, there we are. We have a little bit of an abbreviated introduction tonight, but we want to welcome you to RVing in New England. My name is John DePietro, the festive man to my right, my left, your right, whatever. The guy who's somewhere on the same screen with me is the one and only Bob Zagami. And Bob, we've got a good crowd tonight. Are you done playing?
I've done playing. Yeah.
So, folks, you might know already by now, and within the first 10 seconds of the show, that we've got some technical difficulties with Mr. Zagami's audio system, but we're working as we speak to try to correct that. Maybe Bill Sell, who is sitting in the studio audience, can come into the back room and tell us what's going on. But we've got a very interesting show, Bob. We've got representatives from Route 66 to come here and tell us the difference between an independent dealership and a giant chain. Last week we talked about mega dealers, and this week we want to talk about what I would refer to as locally owned dealers, many times family-owned dealers, and maybe you want to chip in on that.
Yeah, we'll start with Rob Merril at Route 66 and Nicole Schantz at Priority. Hope that it's not picking up those on the video. So let's start with Rob. All right, thanks, Rob Merril, for joining us today and for this important show. And great to see you again, Rob. And
great to see you, Bob.
Route 66 dealers that we have here in New England. Why should a dealer join Route? I don't know.
We see two Bob Zagamis now.
Yeah, they can't get rid of one. They can't get rid of one of them. How's that?
You want to try it again?
Yeah, looks like that. All right, thanks, Rob Merril, for joining us today and for this important show. And great to see you again, Rob. And
great to see you, Bob.
Roots.
And you know what? It was great to see you, Bob. That's about. That was just like a
Bill,
very.
If you out there, call. Actually, I'll give him a call, but I don't think it's going to work. Let's do this. Go through the live people. You can introduce them. And we got Chris Andro from Route 66. We got
Route 66 and Hemlock Hill. You want to bring them up as we welcome them?
Yeah.
We have Megan from Pete's, and we have Randy from Pete's. And they are there. There's Megan. There's Randy. Randy's coming to us not from Burlington, Vermont, but from Las Vegas, Nevada. Megan, you got snow on the ground up there?
I'm actually in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So, yes, we do have snow right now.
In Lancaster, okay. And I think we have Chris Andro also as well, Bob, right?
We do. Didn't I bring him up?
And there's Chris. There's Chris. So, you know what? Why don't we do this? Megan and Randy, tell us a little bit about the dealerships that you represent and why they're so important to New England. Why you should, for RV owners and prospects and people that already may have bought from somewhere else but are traveling through New England, may need service, or they've bought something from the internet a few years ago, but now they want service. What are the advantages of a dealership like you guys have? Megan, let's start with you.
You're going to start with me?
Unless you want me to start with Randy, and then you can pick up on what he says. Would you feel more comfortable with that?
No, we're fine. I know Pete's RV has been around for, many, many years. I think from the 1980s. I only joined in about a little over 5 years ago, so from 2020. And I was fortunate to see the rise and to watch and witness the growth of Pete's RV in a very short amount of time. So I think importance to us is location within probably 3 hours anywhere between.
Can you guys do better?
We're fine, but go ahead. See if you're a little better.
I killed the mute. I killed the mic on the second one.
Yeah, a little better. Go ahead. Go ahead, Bob. We're giving each of them a 30-second time.
Go ahead. Pick it up again, Megan. Thank you.
So, Megan, you saw it grow from what, 4 to 10?
Yeah, well, in January, we're going to have 10 stores. So, and it's all about location. We're about 3 hours to 3 to 5 hours away from all of our dealerships between Vermont and Virginia. And then we have a dealership in Indiana as well. So whether you buy in Virginia and travel to Maine, we'll be able to service you almost in every state in between. So that's a pretty cool experience. And we've grown a lot, like I said, in the past couple of years that I've been there, and I was able to watch along and help with the growth. So it's really neat. I know Randy's been there for a very long time, so I'm sure he has a lot to say as well.
Let me jump past Randy for 1 second to Chris, because your stars of growth are similar but yet totally different, whereas Chris has grown internally and just opened up a multi-million-dollar 15-bay mega service center. He's right off an interstate highway. Chris, I'm sure you have some stats about how far you are from, millions of people between New York City and Waterbury and Danbury and Hartford and New Haven and Springfield and et cetera. But your business is a little bit different in that you're getting bigger at one location as opposed to spreading your wings.
Yeah, I mean that's been our kind of our thing all along. This central southern New England location that really touches in a pretty big country. So getting to those markets is traveling. Look, at the end of the day, if you're going south of Florida or going to Maine, you got to come through Connecticut. So and Randy and Megan, they know they have a store in Connecticut, and they so we're not too far apart from each other, and there is quite a bit of campers down there. I was just looking at the recent registrations, new and used, in the tri-state Mass, Rhode Island, and Connecticut area, and it's knocking out almost 6,000 registrations. So it's quite a big area. It's a small area, but pretty decent sized market.
Yep. Hey, Randy, Connecticut is not Windsor's not a is that a Jayco only store?
It is, yes, sir.
Okay, and you've done something a little bit different in the industry, but it's getting more and more common, is that you've got stores with one brand only, but yet overall you sell a lot of different brands. Talk about the philosophy of a one brand only retail location.
So first of all, I'm really jealous of Chris's new shop because it's awesome. I've seen lots of pictures and videos of it, and they've done an incredible job down there. So kudos for doing that, man. It's I'm jealous.
Randy, if I can stop
the single lot stuff. I'm sorry, Bob. Go ahead. What?
Yeah, just tell me if that's any better. I killed one screen, not the other. No.
Still
it's a little better, but it's still
this is one that we have a little sorrow.
But Randy, go back to that.
So the single lot store, the stores that are the boutique stores, as we would call them, we have aligned ourselves with Jayco manufacturer. Jayco is an incredible business partner. Supports actually that South Windsor store. Last year, it was the #1 selling Jayco store in North America, and this year it is the #1 selling Jayco store in the United States. So, out of that little postage stamp over there in South Windsor, a lot of great things happen for Pete's RV and Jayco. Aligning yourself with in the RV world, a little different than the car world. We're still running like the Wild West, and I'm sure Chris would attest to that, where you can have Ford, Chevy, Dodge, and Toyota all on the same lot pretty much, because you can have that. It's still run by the dealers, not run by the manufacturers, right? Yeah. And so you can have major competitors on the same lot, and you're selling all of them. By aligning yourself with one, you got to be careful, because now you have really limited the traffic to that store. But if you've got a good enough product in a broad enough market like we do in the South Windsor store, or the store that Megan's in over outside of Lancaster, we can drive the people there with the product of a major manufacturer and keep those stores going. So it's a little different than the normal RV dealership. But in the right market with the right product, you can make it work. And it does build great foundations for manufacturers and dealers.
Yeah, and you certainly have to have a brand with a wide enough scope of product where Jayco is both motorized and towable.
Usually when you're doing a boutique store like that, you are required by the manufacturer to carry all lines. So you're representing from their inexpensive entry-level product all the way up to, with Jayco, for us, it's their diesel.
But you're not dealing with Integra at all, are you?
We are an Integra dealer, but not at the South Windsor store. We're an Integra dealer in the Massachusetts store.
Okay, guys, I think I fixed it.
I think you did.
I think you did.
I saw the other StreamYard. Okay.
What was it?
It was because I used StreamYard for the pre-show promo. So we'll pick it up here. We'll do the whole show. We'll run a little bit late, and then we can cut the front part out on that. So I apologize, guys, to everybody else. I felt this was going to be the biggest show of the year. It got me in the guts.
Look at it. It's just we fumbled before the start, but so what? Right. We got the ball back.
Let me jump to my first one to Rob Merril from Route 66, and then I will come back with Nicole Schantz. All right, thanks, Rob Merril, for joining us today and for this important show. And great to see you again, Rob. And
great to see you, Bob.
Route 66 dealers that we have here in New England. Why should a dealer join Route 66?
Oh, several reasons. We have a little triangle that we talk about all the time. It's basically, we exist to help independent dealers operate more effectively, more efficiently, more profitably, with more tools to support their customers, especially as they travel. Most of our dealers have earned a reputation as being really exceptional at taking care of customers in their local market, but they're limited in their resources when that customer travels outside of their geographic area. And so we've been able to kind of go out and handpick the best of the best independent RV dealers throughout the U.S. and then partner with some sister organization in Canada to basically make the promise that we do to our consumers that wherever the road takes you, you can count on us. So if I buy something in Hartford, Connecticut, and I travel down I-95 to Florida, there's Route 66 dealers all along the trail that are there to service them, help them find parts. In fact, our dealers even create a virtual inventory of all their parts so that consumers always have what they need when they need it.
Well, part of your value proposition, I think when I look at this as an independent dealer, which most of our members are, is you get all of the benefits of dealing with a local dealer, but you've built a strong network behind them for national support and service, and they can rely on each other. They will take care of each other's customers. So it is a great expansion of the dealer to make sure that customer, when they're going down the road, has all the protections that they would not want to need. Speak to that.
Yeah, well, it's a covenant that we make with one another. It's in writing that if a Route 66 consumer that purchased from any of our dealers pulls into any of our dealerships, calls them on the phone, sends them an email, our covenant is to take care of that customer as if they were that we sold them their unit. And so it really is. It's a commitment for the longevity of the ownership period that customer has if they buy from any of our dealers. So it's more than a marketing scheme or strategy, and it's more than a way to try to coerce somebody to do something. It really is a way to support people, because if you live in Hartford, your unit's usually parked when it's in Hartford. When you're going to have a problem is when you're out on the highway, and the RV industry, as you know, Bob, it's not brand specific. And so, if you're in an automobile and your Toyota breaks down, you find a Toyota dealer. But our industry came from a heritage of just independent operation, independent service, independent marketing. So it's really tough for a consumer to kind of navigate the maze to try to find parts or service when they're on the road.
Yeah, and you founded the organization in 2003 with just 17 members. So talk about the strength of the Route 66 network.
Well, thank you. It is strong, and we are coming up on 25 years, which is kind of exciting and hard to believe. But yeah, it was these dealers, especially the original folks, they all knew each other. They knew who they would call on the phone if you were in trouble when you were traveling, and they knew who they would ask for help. And we just invited those folks. In fact, you have to be referred to become a Route 66 member dealer. Other dealers that know you have to vouch for the way that you take care of customers after the sale. We are all about what happens after the purchase, not just the purchase itself.
It's just fantastic. We got about a minute left. What does the structure look like in terms of the number of dealers, number of rooftops, the members that you have?
Yeah, we're just under 100 dealerships, which we define as an owner. And we're just under 120 locations, rooftops, throughout the United States. And then we have a sister organization called RV Care. That when you cross into Canada, there's another 80 dealerships and rooftops that if customers, and it happens in the Northeast, they move up into Canada during the summer months especially, it's nice to know that you can go to the front of the line and service. You can get discounts on parts. You can get all the benefits if you just find a Route 66 dealer. And we have a phone app that they use to locate a dealer. So no matter where you are, you can go look in the direction you're traveling. It'll send you right to the dealer that can help you out.
All right. Our guest tonight is Rob Merril from the Route 66 RV Dealer Network. Rob, it's always a pleasure, and let's continue the communications and take care of these independent dealers.
We will do. And thank you, Bob. Thanks for all your support and all your good work. Bless you.
Sir.
There we go.
There we go. Wasn't bad.
Look at Route 66.
So let's go back. But let's go back to. I don't think we got Megan all of her comments, but either one, Randy, Megan, or Chris, you can talk about your relationship with your network.
Whether they be Route 66 or Priority.
Either one.
Randy's in Vegas. I could hear it.
Like motorcycles racing outside.
Randy is in Vegas. Now, do you have your own room with your own name on it? So when you show up at the you stay the same place every time?
I am a fan of the Caesars area, and I usually San Pellegrino, am staying at like the Horseshoe or the Link or Harris or something like that in that area there. My name is not on the door yet, but I probably have spent enough money to get there. I don't know.
Now, Randy, Horseshoe is the old Bally's, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Right. And that is right.
Randy, it doesn't matter if your name's on the door. It just matters if they don't charge you for the room.
That's a better way.
I still pay for the room, so if that tells you anything,
well, then you got to spend a little more money.
Are you there right now at Horseshoe?
I am at the Horseshoe. Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, yes.
So when you walk out in the hallway, the exits. Here's what I remember when it was Bally's after it was MGM when they had the big fire there is that the exit signs are on the ground. They're not, right? Because they want you to crawl down.
Well, they're two. So if it's very smoky in the hallway, you can see the signs on the floor. And this is the only casino on the Vegas Strip that has had a fire of that kind. It was not a good thing. There was people that died from it for sure, but this is probably one of the safest buildings on the Strip because of that fire.
Yeah, and that was 30 years ago at least.
It was a while ago, yeah.
Yeah. It's not more than that. I mean, because I went there, I stayed there in 1990, and that's 35 years ago, and it had already recovered and changed the name to Bally's. But,
okay, let's go back to our videos, if you don't mind. And a young up-and-coming woman in the RV industry who's always happy to come on, and she's going to speak to her relationship with the Priority RV Network. All right, Lexi Roberts from Longview RV, thank you for joining us tonight and talking about your relationship with Priority RV Network and why it's important to your consumers that Longview RV is a member of the network.
Yeah, so this is a big point. It's a big deal every time I'm at a show. This comes up a lot to all of our customers buying a new unit. Basically, we have this big network, and if you buy at Longview RV, we're in the network, and you're on a big road trip miles away, you can go get service anywhere in the country. If you look on the priority map, find a dealer, and they'll help you out in any emergency situation. So it's really peace of mind for the customers that we can offer. And so we have this big network of dealers, and we all work together, which is awesome.
Well, you mentioned the app, and that's a great app. So as soon as something happens, they pull out their phone, they immediately find a priority dealer near them, and that dealer is going to service them the same way that you service them at Longview RV. That's part of the commitment that you all make, and you are continually getting awards for your service. And Joe Nero, your service manager, over 30 years. I mean, it's unheard of in the RV industry to have a service manager over 30 years duration with a company. He's just like a member of the family.
He is.
I've worked with Joe for all of that 30 years. So how about from a selling standpoint, Lexi, when you're talking to customers, how do you explain to a customer the reason that they should buy from Longview RV and why the protection of the Priority RV Network commitment is so important to them going down the road?
Yeah, a lot of consumers don't realize that this isn't like the car industry. You buy at a Ford and you can go to any Ford. Normally in this industry, it's you didn't buy here, we don't want a service, or you go to the back of the line. So it is really important to have this network and have that peace of mind as you're traveling, and someone's going to treat you like us. And it's even more important because the commitment is for emergency services. So if you have an air conditioning or something that's a trip ending issue, as we call it, we'll get you right in. And Longview does this with most people. If you're traveling in the area, we want to help you and do as much as we can. If you can get it here, we're going to help you, especially in the peak of the season, and do everything we can. But not everyone's like that. So the network is where it's really important when you're on the road and not in Connecticut or New England.
Yeah. Well, as Rob Merril likes to say, and Nicole Schantz, you don't break down in your driveway.
Exactly.
You buy these units to go someplace, somewhere, and you hope you don't have the problem. But if somebody pulls into your driveway this afternoon and they're they're covered by the Priority RV Network, then they pretty much, when possible, they go to the head of the line, you get them in, you get them out, right?
Mm-hmm. We'll diagnose it and do everything we can in the short time frame. And if it's going to be waiting on parts, or we'll patch it and get you on your trip till you get home, or whatever it's going to be. Yep.
It's a fantastic network. It's a big plus for the customers because it helps and allows it gives the strength of the independent dealer that the customers really want. Most people want to do business with their local people and their local dealers. But knowing that they got the strength of all the dealers across the country is good peace of mind, and it puts you right up there with the big mega dealers. Your network has just as many dealerships. They have just as many rooftops. They have just as many service bays. And that's what the customer has to know. And they have to understand that something is going to go wrong, but with the Priority RV network behind them, it's good peace of mind once they drive off. If they buy it from you and they drive off your lot, or if they buy it from somebody else across the country and they drive onto your lot, right?
Yeah, they get the best of both worlds. They have the hands-on small dealership where we're family owned. We're here every day. You see the owner at the shows and on the property every single day, but you still have that security when you're traveling and you get other locations to go to, which is awesome.
Well, Lexi, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And it's always a pleasure to see you are one of the young stars, young women rising up in the RV industry and carry on the Roberts tradition at Longview RV. So thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
Megan, not Megan, Lexi brought up something I want to show it. I don't know if you can see it here, but she brought up a phrase I can't quite, but I wrote down family owned. And although Randy and Chad are not blood relatives, I think they come as close as they possibly can be. And Megan's a new member of the family. And certainly with Chris's, there's always an owner around. And with Chris, between Chris and Jason and Michelle, there's always somebody there whose last name is on the right side of that check. And I think that's so important, especially, and Bob and I have talked about this over the years. So many of the New England dealers are still family owned. And would you guys agree with me? Maybe I'm asking the obvious question, but there's got to be something that an owner, the relationship they have with their business is a little bit different than a person who's punching a time clock. And even though they're at a managerial level, it's a job for them.
Good point, John. I think the way that Randy is so available between the videos and his comments and active with our show, and always he's on our technical advisory committee. I imagine there's a lot of people, Randy, who think you are related to the family.
We all get called Pete, even Megan. So we're all, because we're all very upfront. We're in the center. I think they call me mayor of Pete's RV now because I've been around for so long. Terry definitely adopted me back in 1999. I don't know if he knew it at that time, but he was taking on another son. Chad's mom actually calls me her second son. So the papers weren't drawn up, but for all intents and purposes. But I think the core, and Chris probably will attest to this as well. The core people for the Shepherd family, myself and Megan included, and there's a bunch of other of us that work behind the scenes. We do feel like it's ours. We are part of that family, and we will go the extra mile. I've been with Megan at 2:00 in the morning on a computer getting ready for the following day. That's not an employee that punches in and out. That's someone that loves what they do and loves who they work for and loves the customers and the people that they work with. And I know Chris has people like that as well. So it's not for everybody, but there's definitely lots of us out there that are kind of just marching and supporting the industry, the brand. And at the end of the day, it's all about the customers. It's about the people, right?
And
it's a good point, Randy.
It's further evidence of, let me just say this well, and then of course go right after this. It's further evidence of Randy's dedication because of the time difference and where he is right now. He's giving up happy hour to be with us. He's giving up a 50-cent beer or a 75% wine.
Well, I don't know of any 50-cent beers out in Vegas.
Yeah, but look, he's got status at Bally's, so they at the Horseshoe. They just rebranded Chris, so they're doing their best to get that audience back in there.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of building going on down the street. So. Whatever, but Chris, you were saying something before I told you.
So Randy brings up a great point, and we you had asked the growth internally rather than externally. We like to focus on the who, and not the how or the what, right? That way we can certainly. Am I on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
okay, sorry, my screen just went to me, so it kind of.
But no, I just put it on you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we like so when you focus on the who and you have the right people in place, then the ownership experience at the end becomes an amazing thing for the end customer, for the end user, the customer. And as you know, Rob made some great points about being a network. Lexi made some great points about being a network. Randy and Megan have some great points about having the Eastern Seaboard covered, so you can get service when you need it, because they don't break in they do kind of break in the driveway, but they're easier when they break in the driveway. But the fact is Bob, and is that what consumers don't realize is that, and Randy might even be able to talk to this a little bit more, is that we as dealers, we do a tremendous amount of goodwill work that we don't get paid for. And
What do you mean by that, Chris? Define.
So at our dealership, our process is very simple. We service the customers who invest in our company first. And that means the people who bought RVs from us, and then the people who pay us to do service. And then we service everybody else. And the reason we do that is because, like I don't know if Lexi was talking about it, you could take a Ford anywhere, but you can't take an RV anywhere. And a lot of dealers don't want to work on it, which make orphan customers. The goodwill part of it is, a lot of folks don't realize that dents, dings, scratches, and adjustments are not warranted for the year or 3 years of warranty of the camper. And, we have customers that buy from us and, 6, 8, 10 months later, a year later, 2 years later, when there's those kinds of issues that pop up, because they invested it, we were able to set aside a certain amount of money to be able to do goodwill work and motivate ourselves to do it. When you don't invest in the local dealer and you buy from, a dealer out of market, then it becomes very difficult to justify not getting paid for work and you still have to pay those people hourly or flat rate or whatever. So it's the ugly side of the industry. But being part of a network, there are benefits that are involved that help defray some of those costs, and that's kind of the benefit of being in a network or having multi super regional or family owned regional types of stores like Pete's. There are definitely some distinct disadvantages for being independent. It definitely is there.
Megan, go right ahead if you want to. You're kind of the new person in here, but because these guys have devoted their heart. I mean, Chris was really born into he's kind of different. They were born into the campground. And
we started a campground in 1976.
Yeah. And then
I started washing trailers in 1985.
Yeah. What's that? 40 years ago. 40 years ago. So Megan,
it's a good point, because I've been covering the industry now for 30 years. So of those 40. So one quick before we get to you, Megan, since this is your first time, you'll have to get used to John and I try to fight for airtime and what have you. But one of the other things I think you all could probably relate to, there is no better compliment for an employee at your dealership than when somebody comes in and they ask them if they are the owner. I used to give special awards when I had my imaging company, that if somebody walked in and they thought that the employee was an owner, you can have no greater compliment for your dealership, because they are acting like an owner. And that's what we all achieve.
Owner's mentality.
Want to comment on that, Chris or Randy?
So I've been called Pete on many occasions, but I'm usually the guy out there going, look at me. And I'm up, there's a stage or a microphone, I'm usually on it or talking into it. And so that's my role. That's my role at Pete's RV. It happened organically, and when it did, we ran with it. And Chad stays kind of behind the scenes and does the amazing things that he does. Megan is no different than me. Megan is she's one of the only people in the world that I know that can keep up with Chad Shepard. And she kind of clears the path of destruction that he leaves behind him wherever he goes. And she does an awesome job. She's only been with us like 4 or 5 years now, 5 years now, I guess, and it feels like she's been family just as long as I have been. So,
Randy, wait a minute. She's been there 5 years. It's taken you 5 years to get her on our program.
It's taking you 5 years to get her on your program.
But that was a quick comeback. I'll give you credit for that.
You haven't lost anything.
Happy hour.
You haven't lost anything off your fastball, Murray. Chris, what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a great thing that when someone comes in and they ask if they're the owner and they, it's definitely a compliment to your culture for sure. Culture in this industry, it's you talk to advisors and you meet other people in other businesses and like, oh, well, it's like the car business. Nah, it's not. It operates very similar to a car dealership, but the culture is completely different. And again, your point being, I lived in a campground from 1976 till I went to college, and I started watching trailers when I was young, and my parents started it. And same with I don't know when Chad started, but I'm sure the history is just as long. And Randy in 1999, heck, I remember you when you didn't have a beard. So,
that was the last time you shaved.
Yeah. Chad hired me. Said I'm not shaving anymore.
Hey, Megan, we got to get back. Megan, go talk now because these guys will just keep going and drown you out. But talk about what your reaction to the industry is. I mean, didn't you come out of the car business?
As far as like recently, or just
did you come out
I
of
was
the
in the
car
car business for 10 years before I started in the RV business.
Okay, so you can see this.
So it's definitely, it's a different transition. I mean, it's quote unquote the same but different. Like everyone was saying, Chris, and I don't know if you have history in the car business at all, but it is. I mean, obviously everyone's customer service oriented, but it's not like the car business where you can bring a vehicle in and we can look at your VIN number and see everything that's on your unit, or it's going to be the same as the second one that was in line. So it's a unique experience. It's all about culture. It's all about having relationships with the manufacturer. Like Chris said, there is a ton of goodwill. And it's a unique industry, but at the end of the day, we're selling fun and experience and a lifestyle. So it's neat to be a part of. I have a cool position where I get to put on all the shows and events for Pete's RV with all of our stores. So I get to travel. I get to meet a lot of people. I get to do a lot of work till 2 a.m., but I also get to reap the benefits of the fun and the stories and the events and the experiences. So it's definitely a unique experience.
Dante brought a question up. He said, I travel from Maine to Florida. Dante, did you buy where'd you buy your unit? Was it a Priority or a 66 store, Dante? And if he did not buy it from one of you guys, can he still? Are there any benefits that he would have? Can he buy an RV? Can he buy such a thing as a Route 66 membership or anything like that?
That's actually a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
We have Priority. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think Priority does it. There used to be to be able to do it with Route 66, but I don't know if they still do that. I could find out.
He bought an Elkhart, so it's irrelevant. But he wants to stop in for service. I'm just trying to figure out a way to see if he can move to the top of the line. That might be a selling point where you sell a membership, even if you bought somewhere else, but you add on an annual membership fee of a couple $100. That all it gives you is Priority. But anyway, just
it's an interesting point.
Something
creative thought.
I mean, I know how he can definitely become a Route 66, member. He just got to trade his camper into me, and we'll just sell him a new one, and I'll sign him up. I'll pay for the first year. How's that sound?
Well, let's hear from Nicole Schantz, who prior to going to Priority RV Network was with RV Trader. And I always wanted to, I put her up there with Toby O'Rourke at KOA. I always wanted to attend one of her presentations because she had incredible statistics about the dealers, the dealerships, and that activity. And I think we're going to see more of that in the future. But let's listen to Nicole's interview. All right, we got Nicole Schantz with us from the Priority RV Network. And Nicole, we talked briefly after you took ownership or took the position to run the Priority RV Network, which is another one of our great networks for independent RV dealers. So it's been a while since you've been in the position now, so I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us tonight and talk about the great Priority RV Network dealers that we have here in NERVDA.
Thank you, Bob. It's a pleasure to be here.
So from a consumer standpoint, we have a big consumer audience. What is the benefit of a consumer buying their RV from an independent RV dealer in the Priority RV Network?
Well, there's a lot of different benefits, but ultimately, who doesn't want to buy family owned and operated, right? Like that's the US way. But ultimately, any consumer purchasing from any of our over 180, we're actually at 183 dealers today and growing. But any consumer purchasing from any of our dealers receive automatic nationwide service if they have a trip ending issue. And so ultimately what that means is if they buy from a dealer, in Connecticut and they're traveling and they're down in North Carolina, and something happens and it's about to ruin their trip and make them be able to have to call it off. Nope. We want them to call that local dealer that they purchased from originally. And that dealer is going to help find them the most local dealer to wherever they are traveling at that time and help them get service quickly and get them back on the road. We want to make sure consumers have a great RVing experience because we want to keep them in this industry and loving the great outdoors like we all do.
Well, it's a great message because you're right. Who wouldn't want to buy? And we always encourage during our seminars, buy from a local RV dealer. You are going to want that relationship because guess what? Your RV is not going to break down in your driveway.
It never happens that way, does it?
It just doesn't work that way. It doesn't ring a bell and say, hey, there's something wrong with me, come fix it. But it's the ideal combination of working with your local RV dealer, developing that relationship, buying your parts and accessories there, having your local service there, your winterizing, but having the comfort that once you drive out of that driveway, and if you're on the road and you have an emergency, that there's a Priority RV Network dealer near you, and your dealer is going to make sure that you get service the same way you would as if you pulled into their driveway.
Exactly. Yep. And we even have in all of our dealerships, we have on the back of our little brochures, just the process. It's very easy. We don't make this a complicated process at all. We just want to make sure consumers are being taken care of, just like they would, like you said, at the dealership they purchased from. It's not just that though, right? Like our national service program is probably one of the biggest, things that we talk about of consumer benefits, but it is more than that, right? Like we are a cooperative association, and that means that we're also developing, and we have great partnerships with finance companies, right? So you can be rest assured as a consumer that, there's great financing rates being offered at our dealerships. We offer, RV insurance quotes and things like that. We work with parts manufacturers and distributors, all making sure that consumer is having a wonderful and great experience at all of the dealerships that we work with.
Well, we have finally reached a point in our industry where we are what we like to call data driven. And I know that in your prior life, I always enjoyed your presentations because they were just jam-packed with statistics that people could react on. So I'm sure that you brought a lot of that over to the Priority RV Network.
Data definitely tells a story, doesn't it?
Mhm.
Right. So if we follow some trends and some opportunities, everyone will win in that scenario.
That's right. And I'd like to see our dealers do a little bit more of their own promotion of being in the network because it is such a value to the customer. And they leave there with peace of mind knowing that whatever you, and we're going to have Chris Andro on tonight too, but whatever dealer you go to, whatever network you go to, that you are covered the same way that a so-called mega dealer would. And they're all good, but you have so much to offer the independent dealers, and hopefully we can find a few more for you in New England. But Pete's will be represented in they're our newest priority RV network dealer.
Yeah, in the upper Northeast they are, and we're very pleased to have them as part of our group.
Yep. So now that you've been there for a while, what are some of the things you look forward to either changing or improving, or what do you have for the future of the Priority RV Network?
Oh, there's a lot of things in store, and I think you hit on it a little bit, right? Data is a key driver in so many things, and we have, I would very much argue, right? We have the best individually owned and operated, whether it's a single location dealership or a multi-location, very large dealership group. We just have some of the best dealers. And if we can take all of the greatness and the expertise that each of them have done over many, many years, and frankly, many generations of running these businesses, and bring them into the network and kind of, continue to grow that, I think we have big things to come as we move into next year. Would definitely like to continue to tell our story to consumers. We truly have a great story to tell, and definitely think we could probably improve in some various ways. And so I'll be working on some different initiatives there as well. But time will tell, right? I've been enrolled for about 1.5 years now, and just every day is a new day. I love every dealer and every partner that we work with. And, consumers are what makes the heartbeat of all of this work. And so I just want to make sure that consumers absolutely have the best experience. We need to, as an entire industry, ensure that consumers continue in the lifestyle, right, and ensuring that they have the confidence and great experience buying from a great dealership, selling them, to your point, the right parts, so that when they're, getting out at the campground for the first time and they're trying to figure out the sewer hose. I've been there. I've done that. It was not a fun experience, right? And so when you buy from a good dealer that's explained this and properly done your walkthrough and made sure that you had the proper parts to, make sure that you have everything you need when you get there, that is what keeps consumers having a wonderful experience and continuing to buy over and over again.
Yep. It's the education. And the education and the experience. Our guest has been Nicole Schantz with the Priority RV Network. Thank you very much for taking the time today. I know it was on short notice, but great to have you on the show, and let's talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Bob.
Okay, before we go any further,
yes, sir.
You heard Zagami say, and thank you for being with us, Nicole. I know it was on short notice. Zagami, tell our audience where you've been the last couple of days.
Most
of yesterday.
The last couple of months, and you're right, John. You wouldn't believe it, but I was in the hospital yesterday and went in on Monday for cardiac catheterization on my left artery that had a 70 to 90% blockage. And they found that last month when they did my right artery that had a 90% blockage. So I was a walking time bomb, and it's only by the grace of God that I am sitting here tonight with you. I got home from the hospital yesterday afternoon, and as you can see, I am fine. I feel fantastic.
You're still ugly.
Well, I can't correct that.
You can't correct that.
Maybe if I grew
you have your cocktail, I noticed.
I didn't say anything about Jack Daniels, apparently.
I have my Jack Daniels. Well, after the first one,
I guess you ignored the doctor's order on that deal. How about it?
Did.
He absolutely did.
He did. But after the first one, they put me on a liquid diet.
Yeah.
And I said, well,
Jack Daniels.
There you go.
It's liquid. And my wonderful cardiologist, great woman, and she just looked at me and said, Jack Daniels is not on the list. So I had a follow-up with her a week later to schedule the left artery. And I said, oh, by the way, I cheated. I've had a couple of Jack Daniels. And she turned to me and said,
bottles.
No, I had a couple of drinks, two dinners in restaurants, one Jack Daniels each. And she looked at me and she says, that's okay, Bob. I won't tell anybody. So So yeah,
cut it open.
but I've got permission, so I do it in moderation as I will. I'll start cardiac therapy probably in 2 weeks. I got a 2-week appointment follow up. But I tell you, I woke up this morning in my bed and I had the most incredible night's sleep that I've had in 2 months. I was alert, I was awake, and I felt absolutely fantastic. And I sat down at this computer at 6:30 this morning. I've been working since that time, putting the show together, and I apologize again for the technical issues, but we solved it. And all of you are fantastic. So let's talk about Nicole's. Let's go back to our female guest tonight, who is appearing for the first time.
That's 3 female guests tonight, Bob.
That's what?
3 female guests tonight.
Well, yeah, we got Lexi and we got Nicole, and now we have Megan. So, any comments on what Nicole said or how you incorporated into Pete's RV?
Megan?
Can you hear me, Megan?
So, yeah, sorry, you were breaking up there a little bit. Pete's RV
that's Facebook.
is very new to the Priority Network, but we are excited. Actually, the dealership that I work at here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, is a Priority Network. But it's like she said, it's basically people helping people. We want to be, if you're traveling and you are stuck and you belong to the Priority Network, you're in luck because we're able to help you. We put you to the top of the line. Our service department not only services, Jayco's, but we do service everything, even if we are not an exclusive dealer for that brand, because fortunate for us is we have multi-dealerships with some different brands. So we do a lot of training with our service team, and we are family owned. But again, that was Chad's original goal was within a couple hours, you will be able to be serviced no matter where you go on the East Coast. So it's really nice. And we're lucky enough where we have multiple dealerships in our network with Priority.
Yep. And that's so true. When we started talking to Pete's, it was Burlington, and then they bought Connecticut.
Right.
And then what? Foxborough, McDonald's.
Yeah, then you got Plainville, Foxborough, yep. And then so we've watched them grow.
Well, Indiana was actually the second acquisition. Then we went into Pennsylvania and Virginia.
Well, we've been very fortunate in New England. We have incredible family-owned, multi-generational dealerships, of which Pete's and Hemlock Hill are certainly 2 of our favorites. But I hope the consumers understand how fortunate they are with these professionals every day and the service that they give, and they bend over backwards. And same thing for Longview in the Route 66. We have some of the best dealers in the country. It has been our honor to be able to work with you for the last 8.5 years of this show, despite DePietro's ugly looks and commentary. He did make it through 8.5, and he keeps trying to say it's 9 or 10 or 11. And I hope that's not because he's tired of the operation after that long. But I couldn't do this show without John. I couldn't do this show without our dealers.
But we couldn't do the show without those people over on the right side of the screen, our audience. And you know what, Bob, you and I can have phone conversations all day long, but it's not as much fun as when we do the show, because the audience is really our studio audience. It's like a live show. And there are times when, Chris and Randy have been on before. They know that there can be a question that comes up on the right that totally changes the direction of the show. And, but our job is to connect RVers with people who fix RVs, make RVs, sell RVs, run campgrounds that RVs go to, and promote the lifestyle. And, I don't know about Megan, but I know Randy's got one, and I've seen him camping at Normandy, and I know Chris camps every year and grew up in the campground. But the beauty of it is, and even Lexi can tell you about trips that they've taken across the country in units that Frank has just thrown a dealer plate on. But the reality is, this is a family operation, and I'm not talking about the corporation of the business, but RVing is a family activity. Wouldn't you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I know. But, we're really involved in selling. Aside from the experience, but if you really think about it, what are we really selling? We're selling vacation time.
Fun. Right.
We're selling an avenue to make memories, right? And that is super, super important to understand that. And going back to the people in the dealerships, and I'm sure Randy and Megan feel the same way about a lot of people that work at Pete's, is it's about the who, and you have to make it about the who, and you have to not the how or the what, right? And sometimes, like, when's the last time you walked into Home Depot and found somebody who could really help you, figure stuff out, right?
When's the last time you walked into Home Depot and found somebody?
Right. So as big boxes grow, they lose that ability to connect. And I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying it's the business model. So, those independent boutique type of dealerships, and I love that word, Randy, by the way, thank you, that it's important. It really is important, because when you have a finite time to go make memories with your family and that gets disrupted, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
Well, I liken it to Ace Hardware. We most of us grew up at a time when you went to your local hardware store and they knew every screw, every nail. They knew how to do everything, and they taught you. They took the time. They'd show you. They'd walk you to the aisle. They'd explain the options that you had. And that's what we have today with Ace Hardware. And I know we've just got one here in Ave Maria, Florida. It's about 5 minutes from my house. And there is no reason to go to a Home Depot or a Lowe's to find out and get the information that you need. And that's what we have with our independent dealers. And I've been very fortunate in my career in the RV industry, which was not my first career. My first career was at the document imaging company that I owned. And we ran it the same way that you guys run your RV dealerships. We competed against the 800-pound gorillas of the industry. And this is what you bring to America and to the RV industry, to the RV consumer, that when they walk into your store, they just feel very comfortable versus walking into a mega dealer and talking to some employee that may have been hired 2 weeks ago that doesn't have any idea. And I've been in all your stores, as has John. We've had the pleasure of working with you guys for 13 years since I took over NERVDA. And, it's an amazing opportunity when we get to visit your stores, talk to your dealerships, and, it's an amazing opportunity that we have, and we certainly appreciate it. And to Chris, they've got this new campaign, if you follow Hemlock Hill, and they throw a couple of tips up there. And Randy, and you'll enjoy this one if you haven't seen it. But they put up the parts issues, and they started out with just ask Amy, and Amy is the parts manager, I believe, and she talks about the new options and the new items that you have. So what we like is that we'll tell somebody to go in and just ask Chris, or just ask Jason, or just ask Michelle, or just ask Randy Murray, and see what you get, and enjoy the following conversation, because you guys are the pro of the industry. And Megan, I'm very glad that you could join us tonight.
I'm grateful. I'm honored.
Well, Megan, if I'm at the American Music Theater, how far am I from your facility?
I would say 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. Back toward the city.
It's
right.
Yes, not towards Amish country. Towards
not toward Amish country.
And
towards York.
Wait a minute, you haven't visited them in South Burlington?
She's been there.
But she's not in Burlington.
She's
in Pennsylvania.
Right.
She's in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I work out of the Pennsylvania store.
So tell her why you asked that question. You might be able to get her a couple of tickets.
Oh, no, we always go there every year. And, maybe there'll be a Kenny Rogers show there next summer.
But she doesn't know She doesn't know why you go there every year.
Well, I do some work with the Kenny Rogers Band. So
You do a lot of work with the Kenny Rogers Band.
That's
they
neat.
always we always play last 3 years at American Music Theater. It's always nice to go down. So
I'll have to check it out.
Hey, we are overtime, and we want to.
Well, we said we could run over. We don't have to, but we do try to stay with this.
Randy's missing happy hour. He wants to get back to the table. He's
Well,
got a.
it started off.
Hours are over.
If you looked out his window, it was light when we started. Now it's dark.
Yeah, that's true. It's 5 o'clock in Vegas. Yeah, or it's 5
you see
o'clock.
the sphere.
Yeah,
Black Summer, that window was.
Ears there in the background.
We appreciate you taking the afternoon off to join us, Randy.
My pleasure.
Bob. One other thing, and I don't know what Pete's does, but I just want to tell you part of being part of the Hemlock Hill family. So Saturday is our last official day of 2025, and we don't reopen until January 5th, 2026. I'm a big believer in again, keeping my people refreshed and getting them refreshed and ready for show season coming up in 2026. So that little break does nice, and you get that kind of thing when you're able to work at a smaller or an independent or your not so big box stores.
Well, I appreciate you mentioning that because John and I are also going to take the next couple of weeks off. We will not be doing a show on Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, but we'll come back fully refreshed and ready to take any challenges that 2026 wants to throw our way.
Yeah. But you know what? Before we go, Megan, you might know the answer to this. And I was amazed when I heard the number last year. How many shows does Pete go to? It's a ridiculous number of shows.
I mean, I personally coordinate at least 50 shows for Pete's each year.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it without a team.
God bless.
That's for sure.
But
God bless.
The amazing thing is you go to a show the day before the show, and there's Chad with chalking off the floor to set up the units. And how do I know that? Because I've been to a show on a Wednesday night that was opening on a Thursday, and there's Chad, one of the owners of the company, on his hands and knees underneath a trailer, push to get the most square inches of space out of every square foot. So
I'm sure Randy and I could tell you stories, but yeah, that's the beauty of working for family owned and feeling like you're part of the family, and that's why we do work till 2 o'clock in the morning, and it's a really cool thing to be a part of for sure.
And
Cool. Just going to be your New England dealers too. Chris is there. His brother's there. I mean, and the Longview guys, I've worked with them all. We all support each other when we're setting up the shows. Each one of us has a unique set of skills, and if somebody's got a problem, we're always going to jump in and help. And that's the New England dealers in general. I think we do work a little bit harder, and that's a New England trait as well. So that's why the New England dealers stick out when you're doing these shows.
And you're right, Randy, and they learned it from their fathers and their grandfathers, and they're passing it on down. Now you see Lexi coming along. It's just a fun time. It's a fun environment. It's a fun industry, and you certainly deliver many millions of memories to the people that are driving around in an RV that they purchased at Longview or Pete's RV or Hemlock Hill. It's a great testimony to the industry and the region. You're right. Very right, Randy. Yeah. Cool.
John, I want to say it's mothers too. Chad's mom was the first one to run the dealership for a couple years.
Wow, that's a great story. Well, there are more and more women that are coming as leaders.
All right, I'm going to tell you a story. You may have heard this before, but I'll tell you. I told it to Nicole today, and she had a lot of chuckles over it. But because I've been around for so long, that whenever I was near Longview RVing, I would stop in, and their administration office was across the street from the dealership. And I'd walk in and I'd ask if Fran Roberts was there, Frank's dad. And Fran's office was at the very back of the room. Shirley's office, Fran's wife and Frank's mother, was at the very front of the room. And she heard me come in, and I started walking towards Fran's office. And all I hear is this screaming behind me. And she says, "You two better not be drinking Jack Daniels in the middle of the afternoon. You can wait until 5 o'clock. And by the time I got to his office, he had the bottle on his desk and 2 glasses filled with ice. And she would just say, "You're like 2 little kids. I can't control you. I can't understand it." But Fran, I've been very fortunate. I've known Fran and Shirley early on when they had their dealership up on Mohawk Trail, which people just didn't go to the Mohawk Trail looking for RV dealerships. And back in those days, Winnebago was about 5 or 6 years old. And amazingly, they would sell 55. This is back in the early 60s. They were founded in 59. But they would sell 55 Winnebago Braves on the Mohawk Trail every month. And this was, the early days of Winnebago. So I had great relationships with them, and I knew Jeff Hirsch Jeff and David Hirsch would come home from high school and wash the RVs and put the campers in RV, stickers on them. So I've had the opportunity to work with the best in the business. And there's no question New England is very special to all of us and to all of your dealerships. And we certainly appreciate you joining us tonight and talking about your experiences, and certainly with the Priority RV Network and the Route 66 RV Network and the many great deals that they have, not only in New England, but if you buy in New England, which we hope you will do, look at the dealerships that are in these networks and get the kind of support from the time you buy it until the time you trade it in. And I thought the highlight of tonight was when Chris said, if you really want a membership in one of these programs, trade your RV in to Hemlock Hill or Pete's RV is the quickest way to become a member of Priority or Route 66 and get all the benefits that their current customers enjoy. Any closing comments, John?
No, I want to thank our audience and our guests, and wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. I'm not politically correct, so I don't say Happy Holidays. I say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Same to you, John. And Bob, you look great, and I hope you have a healthy, happy New Year, for sure.
I hope so too. I joke. I think I've seen more doctors in my 81st year of life than I saw in my first 80 years of life. So it's good to get the couple of parts replaced and get the plumbing fixed up for the next 80 years. What the hell?
Yeah, what the hell?
What the hell? Megan, any closing comments?
No, thank you all so much. And I hope to come on again. And I look forward to maybe joining Randy every once in a while. And like everyone's saying, family owned. It's very important.
Well, we do a couple of shows a year with just the women in NERDA. And I will make sure that you are on that next program, and you can meet Lexi and talk to some of the other women that are involved in our dealerships, because it's an important part of NERDA, and we appreciate you being here tonight. And Mr. Murray, anytime I can do anything for you, I must owe you a few by now.
We go back and forth. It's all that honeymoon's over a long time ago. Bob, I'm glad that you're back and we've taken care of the issues that you need to take care of. We talk about service all the time on RVs. Once in a while, we got to service ourselves too. So glad that's taken care of. I hope everybody has an awesome holiday season with their families. It's huge. Like Chris's team, we're closed down for between the holidays to revitalize, let our hardworking people spend some time with their families. And there's some really exciting things happening for the industry, for Pete's RV, all of us involved for 26. So we'll see you at a show somewhere. I think Megan and I are flying to Chicago in a couple weeks and setting up our first show in January, and we'll be off and running for the fourth quarter from there. So find us at a show, shake our hands, say hello. We'll love to show you what's going on. And thanks, Chris, for hanging out tonight with us.
Well, look at
thanks for having me.
Can I ask you where the number 10 location is going to be? Are you finally going to open up in Maine, or is that not public information? But you can do the international debut. You can do the international announcement on RVing in New England tonight, Randy.
Megan, what do you got?
We are officially opening in Maine, 2026.
All right.
Congratulations.
I've been watching that grass grow for about 5 years.
It'll be a soft opening for the first.
So we're going
in April.
First of the year, we'll have a soft opening, and then come, I think, March, we're going to have our first lot promotion there and get this thing up and running and serve that mother. We've kind of had that market for a while, but now we'll be a presence there, and we're really looking forward to it and support all those campgrounds in that area. Bailey's is one of the campgrounds we do a ton of business with, so we look forward to seeing all you guys in Maine.
All right, is that going to be at Cascade Road and Route 1 in the lot?
I personally, it's not on the lot that we have there. We haven't built that facility. That will be coming. We are revitalizing a store very close to our property there on Route 1 in Saco, and so that's where we'll be located. Keep an eye out on Facebook, and you will see us.
Fantastic. Cool. We'll make sure that John covers the grand opening.
Perfect.
All right, everybody, thank you very much for being with us. It's an honor to have you on the show, and we couldn't do the show without dealers like you and the participation and support that you give us. Closing comments. Chris, did you have a comment?
Me? No, I just, happy holidays.
And
see you guys in 26.
All right, then we'll let DePietro close it out.
Oh, I already did. I said, hey, happy Christmas and Merry New Year and all that other stuff.
All that good stuff?
All that good stuff.
That's fantastic.
Have a nice night, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Take care.
Let me see here. Boom, boom.